Welcome back. And with me is Justice Sikikane. How are you doing, sir?
Dr. Michael Wolf, I'm doing phenomenal.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
fantastic. Thank you for keynoting the Youth STEAM Showcase, where it's an honor to have you here
Absolutely.
and share your wealth of experience and knowledge with our students. So the Altitude Show is all about high school students learning from professionals, from adults, and from their peers on STEM and STEAM-related activities that they belong to. So today we're going to talk a little bit about your career, your education, and your lifestyle, and how that relates to the youth, and how they can watch you and see you and all these fantastic, marvelous opportunities that you've had, and what makes you tick. So the first question is, if you could tell us your title and what you do today with the Hennepin Theater Trust.
Yeah. So great questions. Today I work for Hennepin Theater Trust. We're a nonprofit organization located downtown Minneapolis. My title is IT manager. My roles and responsibilities are essentially to lead the organization in understanding what is possible and what is capable through technology. So every organization will have defined requirements and objectives, and those will usually translate to strategic organizational goals. So as an IT leader, it's my job to say, how do we do that effectively, and how do we use technology as a catalyst? One of the things in this day and age that continues to be a trending topic is data. So we have an abundance of data at our fingertips, right? So how do we use practices like artificial intelligence to catalyze what we do with that data and craft messaging that says, here's what we know and here are some of the desirable outcomes we'd like to achieve. So today I manage a partnership with a local organization based out of St. Paul that manages our entire infrastructure. So when you think of infrastructure in the traditional sense, that's essentially, help desk, system administration. These are different roles in this day and age around technology. So I lead all of that today. And then I also am responsible for the thought leadership associated with where we're going in the future and how emerging technology will continue to be a catalyzing factor in how businesses shift in the 21st century. So it's a lot of what I do for Hennepin Theater Trust today.
Yeah, that's a lot, because, old school IT manager from back in the day. So you have this really incredible job right now, career. What prepared you for that? How did you end up here today? I mean, the Reader's Digest version, but did you always, when you were younger, did you say, oh, I want to go into IT, I want to do all these things?
Yeah.
Share a little bit, how'd you get here?
That's a great question. I think leaning in on what you're innately good at and what you're passionate is one of these things we're constantly trying to find and discover in our adolescence. So I was always great with technology. So anytime, I'm young enough and old enough to remember the VCR era, the VHS, right? Be kind, please rewind, that kind of thing. And anytime we had any audiovisual needs or concerns in the household, it was always left to me to figure it out, right? What cables do I need to connect? And I didn't really understand that, Dr. Wolf, until I got maybe into my later adolescent years, in which I started realizing that I had this desire to build things. So I built my first desktop PC, ordered the motherboard, the RAM, the hard drive, put it all together, and that would end up becoming my system that I used my freshman year of college. Loaded the Windows operating system, and it was a fully functioning system, right, that I had built from scratch based on all the components I had ordered. I think it was at that point that I started to conceptualize that being able to build a computer or even have the passion to want to build one wasn't something that resonated with all of my peers. So then that started telling me this might be a distinct skill set or passion that you have. Well, how can I lean in on that more? And I found myself in computer sales, working for Best Buy, and it became a very easy, and natural learning curve for me to sell computers, because I was able to sell the value of what this computer can do for your household or your student or whatever. And then I took a leap and jumped into my first corporate job. I was working for Allianz Insurance Company of North America, and I was an IT help desk associate, which for those listening is just a very glorified way of saying I was doing a lot of password resets, 50 calls a day, here's how you reset your password. And from that, I started learning a lot of the core systems that drive our organizations today. And I just started building on that, building on that, building on that. And it wasn't until I got to working for a great privately held organization in our backyard, Cargill, I was presented with an opportunity to come in as a systems analyst. And my job, Dr. Wolf, was to manage a portfolio of legacy-based applications.
Okay.
And we called them KLO, keeping the lights on. But essentially, the strategic roadmap of those applications were to migrate into an enterprise-wide system, SAP, that we were invested in. And once I started to understand what an application looked like and how it drove efficiency and effectiveness for our employee base, I started saying, well, how can I understand how that data moves? And it just became this fascinating unveiling of what was possible. And my manager at the time came to me early on in my career when I was working for Cargill and said, there's this thing called Salesforce. And we know nothing about it, but we'd like to send you out to go get trained and learn about it. So they sent me to San Francisco. This was my first ever work trip, not on my dime. And they sent me to San Francisco, and I was just in my early 20s. I was working for a great company. I'm in San Francisco for the first time in my life. And as I'm thinking about this, what I was so inspired by was the fact that I was working for a company that sent me out to San Francisco. And at this point, all I knew about San Francisco was what was in the movies. And I was learning this new platform that would be considered emerging tech. Salesforce has only been around since 1999. And they invested in me, and I learned it. And I came back to Cargill, and I demonstrated what I had learned. And I started immediately putting into form what I could do for the organization based on this acquired knowledge. I became a subject matter expert. And after doing several projects and initiatives with this newfound understanding of this emerging tech, years went by and I found myself being categorized as a thought leader. I'm only in my late 20s, right?
Absolutely.
And now I'm being invited to speak at these conferences. What do you do at Salesforce? What do you do with technology? How are you an industry expert? What does that look like for what you do at Cargill? All these questions were being positioned back at me. And I realized, Dr. Wolf, that it wasn't something I had to fabricate. It was just natural understanding that I had acquired over years. And I started sharing my experiences, and folks started getting inspired by that. And more importantly, the measurable impact stemmed from the communities that I was represented in, right? Socioeconomically challenged communities on, here's this African-American kid, ears pierced, just a go-getter, and he's leading all of these conversations and talking at these conferences. How did he do it? And I've just been very dedicated to giving that blueprint, because the more I can help another individual aspire and inspire them, the more we'll continue to see that workforce development is really about providing access and opportunity, and technology is where that starts.
Exactly, and that's why we wanted to have you here, because that is an incredible, incredible story. I mean, that's fact, right? I can't really offer any more. You are a one-man show, definitely, and your history, your career experience says it all. Before we break, what do you like to do? You have this incredible career. I know you have a passion for technology, but somewhere in there, are there other things that you like to do in addition to tech?
Yeah, I like to, two things come to mind immediately, so I'll just roll with that. I love spending time with my kids, and I love seeing them. I have a 7-year-old and a 6-year-old, and they're at a very interesting age where they're just soaking in everything, and little things inspire them, right? My daughter loves Maya Moore, and we're Lynx season ticket holders for the Lynx, Lexus courtside, so sure, we're right there. And just being able to help them recognize their boundless potential in all things that they do, it just gives me so much life. And even seeing my mother now as a grandmother and seeing how that's such a beautiful process for her helps me realize what it was like when she was raising me and my siblings. And then the other thing I like to do is, I frequent the gym often, and just being in good health and wealth, and I know this is something you've been on a journey of too, kudos to you. It gives me a lot of time to just think, and it gives me a lot of time to just really not really be in the zone on all the different things that I'm involved in from a technological perspective, or even from a time investment with, kids are very demanding, which I love. But when I'm in the gym, it's kind of, I'm just me, yeah. So.
I totally get that. That's beautiful. Well, thank you, Justice. Thank you for coming on the show out of your busy schedule. And any parting words, any advice to that aspiring high school student?
Yeah, I would say right now is the best time to be in technology. Right now is the best time to witness what is happening in our global economy. There are a lot of companies and there are a lot of roles and positions that are being birthed within the last 5 to 10 years because our economy is going through what is referred to as a fourth industrial revolution. There's a lot of emerging tech. So find those individuals in your ecosystem that can help you along that journey, because becoming what I am today isn't anything that's impossible. I went down this journey in 2016 of learning what Salesforce and emerging tech is, and I am where I am today. And I've met so many phenomenal people, from Satya Nadella to Michelle Obama to Mark Cuban. I mean, it's been unbelievably inspiring to be where I'm at today, and it's all because of me leaning in on technology. So aspire to inspire and find that exemplary leader in your ecosystem. It'll change your life.
Thank you so very much. Thank you for joining us on Altitude.
Absolutely. Thank you.